things that I'm going to be working on this time are verbal jump, speaking louder, and hopefully not fidgeting. And my universal theme is determination. Failure will never overtake me if my determination to succeed is strong enough. And that's a quote by Og Mandino. Life is not always full of sparkles and ice cream, if you get my drift. Things happen that are unexpected, and your sail must be readjusted in order to navigate more smoothly. And it is how you navigate these smoother waters that determines who you are and who you become. My purpose today is to share with you how my parents' divorce, my father's move, and the challenges that resulted inspired me toward the determination to turn a heart-wrenching situation into the best possible situation afterward. And I'm going to do this by giving you a background of what happened, which led to my father's move, the challenges that resulted, and then how I overcame it. So imagine this, a 5-year-old girl, young, confused, and naive. At this age, you don't really understand certain things in life, and I was My parents separated when I was about 5 years old, and there was an agreement resolved stating that my brother and I would visit him every other weekend, which was located in Tucson. It was a rather rough divorce because my mom is the one that left and took my brother and I with her, and my dad was rather bitter about it all. Every weekend visit was spent listening to him rage on and on about the separation, and really burdened my brother and I because we were both very young at the time. 9 years of our lives were spent like this, until finally when my brother was about 10, he decided that he'd had enough and didn't want to see him anymore. Of course, my father was infuriated and blamed me for the entire incident. Those of you who are older siblings know that you get blamed for things that are out of your control sometimes. Little did I know what conversation was coming next. Now picture this. My brother has just told my father that he refuses to see him. My father is infuriated and I'm visiting him by myself. At this point, I have no idea what's going to come next, and as I begin to wonder, I am urgently called into his room, where I sit on the edge of his bed and anxiously wait to hear what he has to say. He stares at me for a long time before saying these 4 words. I'm moving to Wisconsin. I sit there, frozen in my spot, unable to form syllables. What had I done wrong? Why was he leaving? Was he taking me with him? He never even asked if I was okay with it. His mind was already made up, and there was nothing I could do to stop him. 1 month later he left, and I haven't heard from him ever since. Now envision this, a 12-year-old girl whose father has just moved away, not caring that he has left her devastated, wounded, and bewildered. The worst of the worst has just happened, even though 9 years were spent trying to alleviate my father's anger. Finally, one morning, after some tears had been shed and some time had passed, I decided that I wasn't going to let him ruin my life anymore. If he didn't want to be a part of my life, why force him to be there? If someone doesn't want to be a part of your life, why force him to be there? So I picked myself up, dusted myself off, and determined to make the best of the situation at hand. I became determined to focus on the positive things in life instead of the negative. I threw myself in academics, sports, and the family that loved me, like the picture behind me. Eventually, I forgave and I forgot all about the heartbreak, and I moved on. And now here I am attending ASU, and so far extremely successful. You may not know exactly what this particular situation feels like, but you do know what it's like to have something go terribly, terribly wrong, and you wonder why it's happening to you. But instead of dwelling on the pain, determine to move on and overcome it. Just as the quote stated in the beginning, failure will never overtake you if your determination to succeed is strong enough. We've all been through a bit of turbulence in our lives, but don't let the feeling of failure or harsh times keep you down on the ground. Have determination to keep pushing forward and make the best of every situation you encounter.